everyone, Jennifer Woods here. I'm back. I won't be posting videos weekly for the time being, but I hope to post at least once, if not twice a month. I also have a VC Andrews blog going where I do snarky chapter recaps. I just finished chapter recaps for Flowers in the Attic, so if you're a fan of that author, please check out my Tuesday Tea Times blog on WordPress. Alphia Williams will be joining me today. Please also check out her channel At Your Daddy House. Today we're discussing Hit and Run, starring Margaret Colin. It came out in 1999, before widespread cell phone usage, so keep that in mind as I cover the plot points. So the main character is named Joanna. Can't remember her last name. Not gonna Google it, though I could. She's a suburban housewife who washes her hair leaning over a tub. She has two adorable daughters named Mindy and Holly. Holly, the younger one, dreams of getting a white dog with black ears for her birthday. Joanna is one of those women who never seems to stop to catch a breath. Over the course of a standard year, she's got parties to throw, Christmas toy drives to organize, though she thankfully does have friends to help her with school pickups, so that's nice. Even though she's got enough on her plate at the moment, she seems to think she should be working as well. She used to be a big shot PR person, I guess, but that was before children. Lots more things were possible before children, but hey, she's not complaining. One day she's driving in the rain, which is always a treacherous thing, and she's distracted because something fell from the seat to the floor of her car, and instead of pulling over in a safe location to deal with it, as one should always do, she decides to take her eyes off the road, which is a really stupid thing to do when it's dreary and rainy out, and you're surrounded by forest and it's hard to see. But seriously, who the hell is out walking or riding their bike on a rainy day down a quiet road? Someone looking for trouble, that's who. Anyway, she knocks the little girl off her bicycle. The little girl is named Kelly Corey. Joanna interacted with her once in front of her daughter's school when little Kelly dropped her pencil case, and Joanna let her know so she could go pick it up. Joanna is absolutely horrified that she caused this accident, which is a little more serious than a dropped pencil case, I'll say. She tries to put the little girl in her car, but then figures it would be a bad idea to move her. She doesn't have a cell phone because this is 1999, and so she has to rush to a phone booth to call for help. She races back, but by then, others have arrived on scene, including some passerby lady who makes some angry comment that Joanna overhears. And Joanna is scared to turn herself in because she is afraid that people will judge her. Over the next few days, people can't seem to stop talking about that a-hole who hit that poor little girl with the two first names. Kelly, by the way, is such a 90s kid name. There's a really cool song from the 90s called Kelly Watch the Stars by Air. You should check it out. And now I'm picturing little Kelly Corey watching the stars as she lies on the ground with a concussion. So you see, it fits. The PTA mothers have a field day gossiping about the case while the child lies in a coma. Even Joanna's husband, who looks a little like Bill Pullman, has thoughts on the kind of person who would do a thing like this. Joanna is acting guilty as hell, but she manages to convince her husband that she's just upset over a bad job interview. Apparently, she thought admitting to the hiring manager that she's reached that point in her life where she can't remember would actually be considered a refreshingly honest take. Joanna goes to the hospital to keep tabs on little Kelly's progress. Still in a coma. She buys her flowers. Also, she goes to a hospital gift shop to see if she can't buy a little stuffed dog for her daughter. One way or another, she's got to get Holly a dog. One that can't bark and poop all over the house would definitely be preferable. Spoiler alert, Holly never does end up getting a dog. Nice to see a child in a movie not have all of their hopes and dreams fulfilled. By the end, she'll settle for the stray visit from her ostracized mom. Thank you very much. Joanna's story is interspersed with the story of a female detective named Rico. That's her last name, by the way. Can't remember if she was given a first name, and once again, I'm not going to take the time to Google it because it doesn't matter. Rico really wants to have a baby with her partner, but first she's got to solve the mystery of the hit-and-run driver. She's got a recording of the call that came into 911 shortly after the accident. There are also other clues, like shoe prints at the scene and the suspect's maternal gesture of placing Kelly's backpack underneath her head. Rico actually has some compassion for the suspect because she thinks she can understand how all of this went down. But at the same time, she wants to nail the guy, or gal, since she definitely suspects it was a woman. Rico is played by Lisa Vidal. I know I've seen her in other things. Apparently she's been in several episodes of ER and several more episodes of The Division. That's maybe why she looks like the kind of woman you might see in an episode of Law & Order SVU, where the stakes are a little higher than tracking down some PTA mom who made a mistake and is really sorry about it but doesn't have the guts to just confess already. So what do I think of Joanna as a character? I have compassion for her because she didn't intentionally harm Kelly, and she really was trying to do the best she could in that situation. She didn't have a cell phone. I know legally she was required to stay there on the scene, and it's not good to just abandon a gravely injured person by the side of the road, especially a little kid, but when it's a deserted road and you don't know when the next person will be coming by, that's a concern. Of course, by the time she returned to the scene, there was already another motorist there. The police were there too, and I don't know if they came because she alerted them or because someone else alerted them, but it seems like if she had just waited a few minutes, she probably could have remained at the scene and someone else would have been able to get help. I mean, the bottom line is, I don't know how we drove responsibly in the days prior to widespread cell phone usage. First, there's all the women who broke down and were dependent on strange men for rides. And then there were the accidents, such as these. So I'm so glad we moved past those cave days. Of course, cell phones come with their own hazards, like distracted driving, for example. So I don't want to pretend like everything would have been just great if only she'd had a cell phone. I mean, if she'd had a cell phone, she'd probably be the kind to be texting while driving. As it was, she was already bending over to pick something up from the floor of her car, which she shouldn't have been doing while driving. So even if she had stayed on the scene, she probably would have been in trouble for that. So yeah, it's not just the fact that she didn't have a cell phone, but certainly we can't ignore the fact that things would probably have been a little bit better for her and for Kelly. Now, maybe Kelly would have been in the coma anyways, because, you can't have a 90s movie without a kid in a coma, but maybe at least Joanna would not have fled the scene of the crime if she'd had a cell phone with her. At one point, Joanna says that she's heard you are defined by the decisions you make in a split instant. I'm not sure I agree with that. I'm not an expert here, but I think you have to acknowledge the role primitive instinct plays. I think what defines Joanna more than her split-second decision to run for help is the way she spent days, if not weeks, hiding from the cops, tampering with evidence, lying to everyone because she was too ashamed to just admit that she made a mistake. This movie reminds me a little of I Know What You Did Last Summer. Not the 1997 movie, but the book by Lois Duncan. In the book, some kids hit a boy on a bike and then run. But they run because they were drinking or something, not because they had to get help. I can't remember if they did make an anonymous call to the police or not, but either way, that was not their primary reason for fleeing, like it was for Joanna. There are many stories out there about hit-and-run drivers and the guilt they feel for months afterward, like the book Chain Letter by Christopher Pike and the 1991 movie Dead Silence starring Charlie Sheen's sister Renee Estevez. But once again, none of these blame the lack of cell phones for the drama that follows. So that's all I've got. What are your thoughts, Alphia?
It's been a minute since we linked up, and I am so excited to be on your channel again. Thank you so much, Jennifer Woods, for letting me come onto your channel and talk about Hit and Run. And this is currently streaming on Tubi. Now, this is the 1999 classic. Now, imagine you are a housewife and you're a stay-at-home mom, and your husband works and y'all live in a beautiful house and you have two beautiful daughters. And you are throwing a party for your husband, for his colleagues. Nothing special, but you like to throw parties. Now, you are headed home from running errands and hanging with your friend. And, your purse knocks over and it spills and you're trying to reach for it and you're trying to get everything. And then you look up and you see a little girl and you try to swerve so you don't hit her, but you end up hitting her. And you get out of the car and it's pouring down raining. Mind you, this is pouring down raining now. You done hit the little girl and you try to, tell her, take her to the hospital because she's she's in and out of it, basically. So you decide to get back in your car that you done hit her with and go to the nearest payphone and make a phone call and say, basically there's an accident and I need an ambulance, and they're asking questions and where it's at, and she's telling them, and then she heads back to the location. She's like, I have to go, I gotta get back. So she heads back to the location, and the little girl is not only there by herself anymore, she's not there by herself no more. There's 2 other cars, the police have showed up, and the ambulance, and they're taking the little girl to the hospital, and she's in a coma. And this little girl also that you have hit goes to the same school as your 2 daughters, your 2 younger daughters to go to school with. How do I even imagine? Can you imagine the person that is a mother and she hits a child, and then I don't even know, Joanna didn't even know what was going on, because she did, but then she was just in shock, and she was trying to explain. She wanted to explain, but it just never came out. And then when it finally did come out, it was just a mess. She didn't serve any jail time. She got 6 months probation and I think a year of not having a license. And she kind of moved herself away from her family. It doesn't talk. Now, the deep diving that I found some information about, but I want to make sure it's reliable before I share. They said that the hit and run was a true story, but the movie was not like the actual events that did happen. So I don't know, but I want to hear your thoughts. And I just tried to figure out. And the detective, she was spot on it. She knew that Joanna did this. And Joanna couldn't function. She couldn't sleep. She was waking up cold sweats. She even drove to the location. And the police officer saw her. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. You didn't see no police officer when you was driving? It was raining that night too when you went. After this all happened, she threw her friend's earring. One of her friends lost her earring at the party. And she found it or whatever. And even the police even questioned her friend. And I'm glad that she wasn't one of those people. Like, I don't know if you ever seen A Killer Among Friends, where the girl that had killed her friend, she was describing like so many different things. Joanna was just paranoid and she was just going crazy. And I'm glad that she finally did turn herself in. I wish that she would have said something sooner. It was like she was trying to, but she couldn't get it out. And I don't even know. And when she told her husband, because even when, okay, I know she had the shoes on, and a lot of people had the shoes, and I hadn't seen this movie in so long, so when I watched it, I couldn't remember what happened. A lot of the people had the size 7.5 shoe, the same shoe in town, so the detective was spot on it. She was on it. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. She was like, who'll be on the case? She was like Olivia Benson. When it comes to the case, she was on it. She knew it was spot on. She knew it was Joanna. She wasn't airing down to nobody else. Even Joanna's friend knew it was her. Because at first she was like, but then she said, I was there at the accident after it happened, her friend looked like, I know you mother freaking lying. That's what she was saying. I was like, ooh, she knows. And how do I put this? I liked in the end that her children did come to her. Her oldest daughter came to her first, and then the second one came to her. The little girl that Joanna hit, her mother came to confront Joanna about it. She said, I'm sorry. But the mama didn't do enough for me. I'm sorry. I thought she was going to attack her. I'm sorry. I thought she was going to whoop that, because she didn't. But she said, I just didn't understand. And then Joanna was so remorseful. She went to the hospital. She brought the little girl flowers. And then when the little girl woke up, she was like, I know you. And Joanna looked like, oh, shoot, I'm caught. That's the look she gave. And they really, I'm going to go ahead and say, I liked how all the women was not, they weren't, her friend was like, she knew that it had to be Joanna, especially when the little girl said, she said, I know you, or whatever, how Joanna was panicking and how the other one was looking at her. But the one friend, she knew. And I just like that they weren't in denial about it or whatever. You know how some people be like, oh no, Joanna couldn't do it or whatever. And yeah, and it was just like, wow. My next thing do you think that Joanna deserved to serve more time for what she did to the little girl? Because, let's just say, thank God she didn't die. But what if she would have died? would she have went to jail? Would she got a slap on the wrist? Because she basically got a slap on the wrist. Now, I'm not going to say that Joanna didn't. Now, I will say this. I like the fact that you could tell that she felt bad. She did. But she could have came forward. But, I mean, it's just like, I don't know what was going on through her head. But she wasn't one of those who, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. But, I don't know. Like, what do you think, Jennifer? I know you shared your thoughts, but what do you really think about Joanna? I feel like I really do feel bad for her, but I wish that she would have said something. And even when she went to the interview for that job or whatever, it was just like a lot. And I don't know. I really don't know. It doesn't say what happened to her kids. Okay, I guess they kind of like forgave their mom and went on about their life or whatever. But like, how did the kids deal with it? Did the kids pick on the little girls because their mom did this to this little girl? She hit her and it was an accident. Like, my thing is like so many things that you have questions to. Like, I really want to know, like, the deep dive. Like, okay, did her husband leave her? Because she still had the ring on, but I don't know, did she leave him? Or, like, what happened? What transpired? Did they ever get back together? Or what happened? Did they get a divorce? Whatever. I was happy the detective got to have a baby. She's going to have a little boy, she said. And I like the fact that she wasn't one of those detectives that was on her case, even when she knew that she put the pieces together. And the guy was like, well, we can get a question. And she was like, no, she'll turn herself in. Like, this detective really had faith in Joanna. And I like that. She wasn't one of those detectives like, you're cold hearted. And she said it. She was like, a lot of people think the person that did this to this little girl is a bia. But she said, I think she's a good person. But basically, like, hey, she made a mistake and she panicked. And she did. Joanna panicked. And it was just like, wow. Now, I don't know. Like, it doesn't really tell anything else what happened. I don't know when this happened, what year this happened, if this happened in the 90s or the 80s. But I would like to know more about Hit and Run. But thank you so much, Jennifer, for letting me be on your channel. And thank you so much for listening to my reviews. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to Jennifer Wood's channel. You don't miss any of her updates. And especially when we're collabing. It's been a minute because we did VC Andrews, but we are here to talk about Hit and Run. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right. That's all for today.
Thanks so much for that input, Alphia. Always a pleasure to have you on here. I really enjoy hearing what you have to say and hearing your perspective. As far as your question about how I feel about Joanna, I mean, I'm torn because we see this through her point of view, and I can understand panicking and wanting to get help. But at the same time, I also think it's crazy that she just left the scene when if she'd waited just like a couple minutes, someone would have probably come by. I mean, it can't be that deserted if a little girl is riding her bike down that road. So yeah, she did seem to get a slap on the wrist. I don't know what would have been a better sentence. I'm a little surprised that she only got 6 months of probation, and lost her license for a year. I don't know about jail time, but maybe longer probation period. Maybe, I can't remember if they said that she did community service. Also, definitely, I think she should have lost her license for longer. So those are my thoughts. So that's it, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And please follow and like.